Are you tired of playing octaves in your left hand and you want to play something that's a little bit hipper? Let's talk about what to play in your left hand for more color and emotion in your chord progressions. I just turned into like a fake white Jamaican for a second. So let's talk about the left-hand producers. What I'm gonna hip you to here in this video are really easy ways, and do not mistake the simplicity for lack of effectiveness, because the way that you put what I'm gonna show you here together within your chord progressions is gonna get you a ton of mileage, and you won't even need much beyond this, especially if you're a producer who makes like R&B, hip-hop, future bass, any sort of electronic music, whether it's electronic dance music, drum and bass, like I said, future bass, any form of modern popular music. This is gonna be 90%, 95, probably even 98% of everything that you ever lay down in your DAW. So let's talk about them one by one. Number one is playing octaves, right? So let's say we have that C major chord. I can play a C on the bottom, just that, and that's just fine. Let's say it's C major 9 or C major 7, right? Just to give some color. I can play that, and that's just fine, right? I could just play a single thing. Or if I want some more beef on the bottom, I can play it in octaves, right? Let's say I have a minor chord, right? A minor. Right, I can play octaves, and this sounds dope. There's nothing wrong with octaves, so don't discount the octaves as a usable tool in your arsenal. Number two is 1-5-1. This is also known as a straddle. So if I were to take that same A minor chord, right, and I would play 1 and 1, I can insert the fifth right in the middle. Right? And that's a little low, so actually let me move this up maybe to E minor or something. Like, you see how that gives us some, like, it gives us some dominance. It's a little bit heavier than just the octaves here. When I add in that fifth, we get some, like, we get some meanness, we get some authority, we get some dominance and some confidence on that. And same thing for major chords. Right? There's just a surety, there's like a landing there. So that's another good one as well. Now, most of you may already know these two, but if we want some more color and emotion, now's when we start getting to the really good goods. 1, 5, and 9. So that 9, we're starting to introduce some color. So let's take it back to that C major chord, and let's move it up here. So let's say I have, here's my C major chord, and I want to play 1, 5, and 1, right? Just like I did before. But this time, instead of going 1, 5, 1, I'm gonna take the stem and I'm move it up 1. I'm gonna say 1, 5, 9, okay? And then my voicing on the top is gonna change a little bit naturally. And that sounds so pretty, doesn't it? Like that 9th in the middle gives it a little bit of warmth. So again, if we were to just do this chord in octaves, it's whatever, right? If we do 1, 5, 1, not so much. 1, 5, 9, really, really cool, right? Now, if you're having trouble reaching that, what I would recommend that you do is just kind of, right? You could do something like that, so you can start getting that reach, and you can slowly gain some more flexibility here over time. Much like stretching your hamstrings. If you can't touch your toes, don't expect to touch your toes today or tomorrow or even by Friday. But if you stick with it over the course of maybe 2 weeks, you'll be able to touch your toes, depending on how close you are. So it's the same thing with your left hand, right? We can do this, and then even try to reach that 10th, and it'll be nice and cool. And the really cool thing is this works for minor as well. So if I were to play, 1, 5, 1, and then play a minor shape on top, that sounds cool, right? But what if I do 1, 5, 9? Super cool, because it gives you this half step rub right in the middle, right? 1, 5, 9. Really, really mysterious chord. And so listen to that. And then major. Really, really nice on the quality side of things. Let's bring it into another key. Let's bring it into A minor, right? So if I were to just do that straddle like regular, but by just adding the 9, it sounds like a completely different chord, right? There's something different about it. So definitely incorporate that 1, 5, 9 into your musical vocabulary. Now also, instead of 1, 5, 9, we can do 1, 5, 7. So instead of taking this and moving it up, we can now take this thumb and we can move it down, right? To 1, 5, 7. And this gives us a slightly different color on that same chord, right? Listen to this, 159, 157. Here we go. 157. All right, there's a different density to this chord when we just change that one note on the left hand in the inside. Now what you can also do is you could just play 1 and 7. You can omit the 5, right? And same thing on the 159 chord, but we could just play 1 and 7 here on the bottom. And I love doing this, especially down like on the lower part of the piano. So for example, one of the ways I typically like to play this G major 9 is I'll add the 7 here. It just sounds so nice. Or on this A, like a half step up, right? So A flat, instead of having 2 A flats, which sounds great, sometimes that's the right choice. If I want it to be a little thicker, get that on the bottom. And if I want it to feel even thicker, then I can add that 5th in the middle, right? 1, 5, 7, or just 1, 7. Like they're different sounds. So what I would recommend that you do is just sit with it and listen to it, experience it. Really, really listen to it so that you can understand what the sound is. That way when you're in your DAW, you know exactly what to use. And last but not least, you can do 1, 3, 7. So taking that same exact C major chord that we did before, instead of playing 1, 5, 7, right, and all this stuff, we can say, you can play 1, 3, 7, and that just gives you a different vibe. Right? So let's go ahead and demonstrate these one by one using first major chords and then minor chords. So here is just a single root, octave, 151, 159, 157, 137. You see, they all sound just a little bit different. Now let's do the same thing with minor, and I'll take it down to A minor. Just root, octave, 151, 1 and 9, 1 and 7, 1, 5, 7, and 1, 3, 7. It's a little low there, so we don't want to do that. When you get too low on the piano, you don't want the notes to be close together because they don't sound clear. You never want to be closer than a 5th when you're getting down low. Like if you're really, really, really low, octaves are great. 5ths can work, depending on how low you are, but you never want to be closer than a 5th when you're down low. Like you want to keep that distance down low. So those are some options that you can play with in the left hand, so you can get a little bit more expressive with your chords and with your progressions and with your voicings. If you're a producer and you like soulful stuff like this, check out all the goodies in the description below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. My name is Bruce Beats. See you on the next one.